guys, we are more than halfway there. We're around 5 out of 6. We've got Ashley Stelzer. I'm almost messed up her name on purpose. With Corviknight, Tyranitar, Togekiss, Gastrodon. I thought I was going to get away with not seeing it today. Dang it. Arcanine and Rotom Wash. And on your right side, Matthew Gomez, right? Yeah, cool. With Excadrill, Rotom Wash as well. That is a Surfetched. Okay. Togekiss, Goodra, and Mimikyu. I actually really like this. So, oh man, that's like 2 Pokemon I did not expect. Goodra was okay because I saw it earlier today with like Max Ooze, but Surfetched and Mimikyu is definitely an interesting choice because I am personally not a fan of what happened to Disguise. Now you take 1/8 of damage every time Disguise breaks, which was a much needed fix to its ability. Doesn't mean I have to like it, but you know, it was absolutely necessary. Surfetched, I think it has it has Scrappy or I want to say Scrappy. I was breeding some for people, so I think it is Scrappy, which means it'll hit ghost type Pokemon. Sorry, yeah, but we'll see. This is also one of those cases of yes, I know this Pokemon exists in the Pokedex and I had to get it to complete mine, but do I know what it does? Absolutely not. And on Ashley's side, a little bit more quote-unquote like common Pokemon you'll see. You've got Corviknight, you've got Tyranitar. Actually the first Tyranitar and Corviknight that I've seen all day. And Gastrodon is finally making its way back onto some teams here. So a little bit more standard here. It'll be interesting to see how she matches up against a kind of unconventional team. Yeah, alright, that's fair. I will accept that. Yeah, that's fine. But Excadrill and Rotom is going to be the lead of choice here for Matthew, and Ashley's actually going for Tyranitar and Gastrodon. So we've got, surprisingly, we've got Tyranitar and Excadrill just on opposite sides of the field from each other, but Rotom Wash going to be facing down a Gastrodon on the other side, so you're going to have to be really careful about using things like Hydro Pump because Storm Drain is a thing, will draw any water type moves towards it. Tyranitar helping set up a Sandstorm for Excadrill is going to be the interesting thing here because it's on the other side, which again is a little bit rarer than what you would usually see, but Excadrill, if that thing is fast, it could definitely go for things like Close Combat onto Tyranitar and just knock it out. And Gastrodon's going to be a little bit tougher here. We'll have access to water type moves and going to make it so that Rotom will have to be careful about using Hydro Pump and when. But Rotom Wash is actually going to face down Rotom Wash as Tyranitar is like, nope. We're going to have a mirror match in terms of water type Pokemon here, but Rotom going for Electro Web will not affect Gastrodon because of that ground type that ground typing there, but Rotom gonna get caught by the other Rotom on its switch-in, is gonna get speed lowered, and we are gonna see that Earth Power from Gastrodon going into the protected Excadrill slot. So, a lot going on in that turn, but right now the Rotom on Ashley's side is going to be at -1 speed, which is going to make sure that Matthews is going to be a little bit faster. Excadrill did take a turn to protect here, so we aren't really going to see what it can do until right now. We know that Gastrodon is going to has at least tried to take down that Excadrill with Earth Power. But Rotom going to also switch out on Ashley's side, and we are going to see Corviknight come into play here, that last Pokemon on Ashley's side of the field, as Matthew is going to be the first one to go for that Dynamax. That is a Dive Ball, so I'm assuming that is going to be that Rotom Wash. I don't actually Dive Ball. Why not? And Rotom is going to be Dynamaxed here on Matthew's side, so I'm probably going for something like maxed, I want to say Lightning maybe? But Gastrodon is actually going to be the Dynamax of choice on Ashley's side. We are going to have that tiny slug be a big slug, and that is, it's actually kind of cute when it Dynamaxes. Sorry guys, I still miss the other Gastrodon version better, but this is going to be the battle of Water-ish type Pokemon, as actually goes for Metal Sound, is going to miss the Corviknight though, as Max Lightning would have guaranteed a knockout there, but still going to easily pick up a knockout onto that Corviknight. The Metal Sound would have just been able to at least guarantee a couple more defense drops here, as Electro Train is going to be set up on the field now for that. Is going to be set up on the field for any Pokemon who want to use Electric type moves, but Max Quake from Gastrodon is going to go into that Excadrill, is going to do super effective damage. Doesn't knock it out thanks to a Focus Sash being held by Excadrill, which is now being revealed here. Even with a critical hit, that is something rough. That would have been a great knockout here for Ashley, kind of go for in exchange here, her losing her Corviknight for the Excadrill, but Rotom is going to get hit by that Sandstorm, residual damage. Ashley is able to bring in either her own Rotom Wash or that Tyranitar. Gonna have to kind of make a choice. Is going to choose Tyranitar in this stead, so I have to be really careful now that we have seen that Excadrill can stay around for at least one more turn, and it did go first, so Ashley's kind of in a little bit of a pickle here. That Corviknight going down on that earlier turn from that Max Lightning is gonna hurt her a little bit. Excadrill goes for Protect, isn't gonna want to get hit here. Will still get hit if a Max Quick goes into that spot or a Max Move, but Max Phantasm from Matthew's Rotom is gonna go into Gastrodon. Doesn't really do that much damage, but will drop the attack stat of both Tyranitar and Gastrodon. Really important. Oh, sorry, defense. Which will hurt them a lot more later on. But Crunch into that Rotom is also going to cause a defense drop on Rotom here, as Max Quick from Gastrodon, whatever Pokemon, it's going to go into that Excadrill, will hit it for that 1 damage past that Protect, because Protect doesn't stop Max moves. Will get the boost in special defense for both Tyranitar and Gastrodon, which will help it out for later on. So actually not quite out of it yet, but Excadrill going down for the count here, so we're going to have so Matt is going to have to reveal one of the Pokemon he's had in the back, as Gastrodon healed a little bit of HP thanks to its leftovers. Hadn't taken any damage until that Max Phantasm, and so Matthew is going to show actually that Goodra. So this is the second time today, which is 2 times more than I expected to see a Goodra on stream, which it had its mark at some point during the X and Y season, and it's making its way back here slowly. The Goodra that we saw earlier was able to use Max Ooze, and did go down to a Darmanitan pretty easily, so I'm hoping to see a little bit more from this Goodra from Matt, and it is an interesting choice, especially against Gastrodon and Tyranitar. Doesn't have to we'll have to maybe worry about a Max Hailstorm if there's an Ice Beam on that Gastrodon, but Gastrodon gonna hit again by Max Phantasm, will get another defense drop onto both Tyranitar and Gastrodon, but slowly chipping away at the health of this Gastrodon, who is able to recover its HP every turn from leftovers. As Goodra goes for the Power Up, is gonna connect it and goes into the Tyranitar, actually doesn't pick up the knockout. Surprised it didn't actually go into that Gastrodon instead. Tyranitar able to get another crunch off here into that Goodra this time. Does a considerable amount of damage. No defense drop, but not going to matter, as Max Hailstorm from Ashley's Gastrodon goes into that Goodra. Is going to change the weather into hail, so everyone will be taking residual damage here. Does super effective damage again against that Goodra, who isn't quite fainted yet, but is able to hold on enough to at least recover its HP with that Agua Berry. So Rotom gonna so actually everyone's just gonna take hail damage here. Everyone's getting pelted by the ice because none of them are ice type Pokemon, but Gastrodon slowly regaining its health every now and then, thanks again to those leftovers. So Rotom is taking that took that last turn of Rotom and Gastrodon both took their last turn of Dynamax, so are back at normal size and normal moves. But I mean, Ashley's still in this, so Tyranitar might be in the red, but she was able to at least get some good damage off onto both Goodra, and Rotom was able to knock out the Excadrill, which was kind of a scary Pokemon to see against like Tyranitar, because that potential for something like close combat would have been absolutely terrifying to see for that. But Rotom goes for the Electro Web. Again, not going to affect Gastrodon, but Tyranitar avoids it this turn, so is at least able to stay for the Thunderbolt. Oh, Tyranitar is able to hold on from that Thunderbolt as well. That special defense from the Max Quick really paying dividends here for Ashley, as she's able to knock out that Goodra, and Gastrodon able to go into that Rotom with Ice Beam. So I mean, that Crunch was able to pick up the knockout on Goodra, and as you know, the last thing that Tyranitar is able to do before it gets knocked out itself. So this Gastrodon in the field and just kind of hanging out here, and is able to be like, oh, okay, like, all my friends are fainting, but I am still here, and this Rotom, and it's gonna be that Surfetched. I am very curious to know what this Pokemon is going to do, because definitely not sure what it's going to do. My face is right now that Gastrodon's face, because I don't actually know what Surfetch is going to do, but it is going to go for Protect, so it's going to use that shield to hide behind right now. They're going to take damage, as Gastrodon from Ashley's side also goes for the Protect. Was probably expecting, I think, a Leaf Blade from that Surfetch, as Rotom goes for Electro Web, is going to do super effective damage. into Ashley's own Rotom, but more importantly is going to drop that speed by 1. And it's going to be... Oh, Rotom gets for the win. Oh, goes into the protect. Would have been really great for Ashley if she had managed to burn that Surfetch. It is a high attack, that Pokemon. The way to get it to evolve is ridiculous also, because you have to get 3 critical hits in one match. So this Surfetch might actually be kind of terrifying, might have high critical hit chances depending on what item it has right now, and depending on what moves it's carrying. Leaf Blade would be a fantastic here for that Surfetch against this Gastrodon and against Rotom, actually. So in all honesty, I mean, Matt might be able to just turn this around with that Surfetch in one go. It's just a matter of what is Ashley going to choose to do, because she has that Gastrodon that's been here for a while. But Rotom goes for the Shadow Ball from Matthew's side into the Gastrodon on Ashley's Gastrodon. Does get that special defense drop, so it is at +1 as of right now. Leaf Blade actually goes into the Rotom from that Surfetch, gets a critical hit, so I think we're going to see a lot of those anytime that Surfetch manages to land an attack. Again, has usually carrying moves that have high critical hit chances here, as we do get the Earth Power into that Surfetch. So Gastrodon versus these last 2 Pokemon, I don't think is going to be a very good look right now for Ashley. Even with the HP recovery at the end of every turn, I think the combined damage output from Rotom and Surfetch is going to be a little bit too much for Gastrodon, especially now that Surfetch has revealed that it carries Leaf Blade. It's 4 times super effective damage against Gastrodon, has a high critical hit chance, and then you're probably putting either a Scope Lens or a Big Leak, I think, on Surfetch. So Gastrodon goes for the Protect as Rotom goes for another Shadow Ball. I think at this point you're kind of delaying the inevitable to kind of think about what you might want to do for the next round, and actually get a little bit more HP boost. But even 4 times even with the 4 times super effective, you also have to remember that this Gastrodon has that -2 defense from the Dynamax moves from earlier, from that Rotom's Max Phantasm. So Surfetch going for Protect on this turn, as Shadow Ball one more time from Rotom is going to go into that Gastrodon and might get another special defense drop, which will negate the boost that it had from earlier. So no, not really here, but Surfetch is able to protect itself, so Gastrodon not able to get an attack into that Surfetch. At this point, actually, the only thing that Ashley has to deal with the Rotom Wash, I think, is actually just Ice Beam. So this is just a matter of, can she knock out this Surfetch before anything else happens, and it's not going to look like she can, as it gets hit. Her Gastrodon gets hit one more time by a Shadow Ball, and Leaf Blade is going to go into that Gastrodon, get that super effective damage, and also get another critical hit. It'll be probably easier to decide to count how many times the Surfetch doesn't get a critical hit, in all honesty. But, oh, I like Ashley's card. That's really funny. I like your card. That's cool. I liked both of those cards. Nah, that's like, both those cards are really entertaining. That's my favorite part about, like, this, is seeing everybody's cards. But wait, if they can hear me, we're in trouble. So, might have to check up on that. Yeah. Oh well. Oh well. Oh! That's cute. Oh, he should put the, yeah, as long as he puts them over. So we'll see. Yeah. So, well, at least I know Surfetch. Well, the only thing I know about Surfetch now is that it crits. That's it. That's all it does. Is it does critical hits. That's all it does. So, hold on. I will. He does spin around every time I say his name. So, just a heads up. I just noticed. Yeah. Anyway, anywho's, I can't believe Gastrodon stayed on the field for that long. That was a little ridiculous. And I don't think Matt is going to let that happen again, because it was able to do just so much damage to him. So what's going to happen now, I think, is you're going to have Toguk. Sure, I would say you might see Surfetch come out earlier, because in all honesty, it actually deals with a lot of things on Ashley's side of the field a lot better than I think Matt is aware of. Surfetch with Leaf Blade alone and the extra critical hits. Oh yeah, that's going to be really tough. I mean, part of what makes this game very difficult to manage sometimes is when you get critical hits against you, because that deals just so much more extra damage. So So what's gonna happen now is that I think if you have Surf Edge at the front of your party paired with Rotom, and you just go for Electro Webs and you go for Leaf Blades, you're either critting or you're lowering speed. And if you're Ashley, there's not a lot you can really do unless you have the Corviknight with Mirror Armor. It can reflect those drops back to the Pokemon. But then you have to worry about Thunderbolt. You have to worry about Max Lightnings when Dynamaxes happen. So there's a lot of things to balance on Ashley's side, and I think once you look at that first matchup, if you're Ashley, I think you're a little bit on the you have a little bit of a disadvantage at this point against that, and that's kind of something that you have to sort of learn how to manage, right? And I think taking care of actually it's going to be almost the same leads from both of them, but it's going to be Excadrill and Rotom, which is the same from Matthew from before, versus this time a Corviknight and a Tyranitar, and that is, I finally got to see that text, that is a Mold Breaker Excadrill, which means it's definitely not going to click Earthquake at any point, but it ignores the abilities that would keep it from like hitting, so like Levitate. So in this case, Ashley is going to have that set up for both her, specifically for her Corviknight and for her Tyranitar, and I think we might actually see one of these two Pokemon Dynamax from the get-go. We are probably going to see another Dynamax from that Rotom from Matthew's side, just because it did so much the first time, and setting up those defense drops for later on was really nice. But Corviknight is going to switch out here. We're going to have Gastrodon come into here, and the last time Corviknight was on the field, it went down to a Max Lightning, and if that Gastrodon is coming in right now, and we have a turn from like last time, what's going to happen is, if that Rotom goes for Max Lightning, it's not going to do anything to that Gastrodon, and that leaves that Gastrodon free to come in for no damage on at least just less damage than it would have taken, and that Tyranitar is going to be able to kind of have like free reign for its next. But we're going to see Ashley go for a Dynamax as well. It's going to be the Tyranitar this time, so not the Gastrodon, because that did just switch in. So Tyranitar versus Rotom. You're either going to have a Godzilla-like Pokemon wrecking things, or Rotom's going to help Ashley clean up her act. Ha, ha, ha. Because it's a washing machine. Guys, this is all I have right now. Actually goes for the high horsepower, goes into Tyranitar, gets that super effective damage, but Max Geyser actually goes into the Storm Drain for Gastrodon, so not quite Max Lightning, but helps boost the special attack for that Gastrodon, which is going to be really good for Ashley later on, because Gastrodon has a lot of specially attack-based moves. As Max Darkness connects into that Rotom, gets a little bit of damage into that, is going to drop the special defense of both Rotom and Excadrill, and thanks to that Storm Drain being powered up, that is not a good thing right now for Matt, because Gastrodon is going to have so much fun hitting with that boosted special attack versus that -1 in special defense for Matthew's team. So it is going to be a little bit of a difficult thing for Matthew. And now you've got Excadrill going for the Protect, because it is absolutely terrified of what that Gastrodon can do to it, as Max Phantasm from Rotom is going to go into that Gastrodon. We saw it not do that much damage last time, and the same goes true right now. Is going to be able to knock down the defense stage of Gastrodon by 1, but Gastrodon is at a boosted special attack and versus a minus special defense, so that's going to happen here again, as Excadrill is at -2 defense behind that Protect, as both Rotom and Excadrill are going to be at -2 special defense right now, as Gastrodon goes for the Earth Power into that protected Excadrill spot. So not quite able to make the full use yet of its boosted special attack, however is able to at least gain back a little bit of health from that leftovers. And Ashley and Matthew are, I think, on their last turns right now of their Dynamaxing, and they're gonna have to make the most out of it, because this is they have to give it all they got, because that Rotom and that Excadrill might go down on this turn. And Tyranitar did take a lot of damage from earlier on, so gonna have to be really careful, because could get knocked out in a quick instant if it doesn't stop that Excadrill on this turn. So we are going to see Gastrodon going for Protect actually on this time, so gonna hide behind its own screen, as Excadrill goes for high horsepower into that Gastrodon. So Ashley protecting that Gastrodon correctly here, as Rotom goes for Max Phantasm. Is going to do some damage behind that Protect with that Gastrodon, but that leaves Tyranitar free to go for an attack on its own, and Gastrodon is at -3 now in terms of, -2 I think actually in defense, as Tyranitar goes for Max Darkness. That's actually -3 now for for Rotom here, and so that next turn is going to be really hurted as Extra Drill is finally knocked out here on that last turn of those Dynamax moves. Extra Drill is the scarier Pokemon here for Ashley, I'm assuming, as Rotom she can deal with in a little bit, but Gastrodon has access now to Ice Beam, has Earth Power is at a boosted special attack. That Rotom is at -3 special defense, so Gastrodon is a little bit ready to show Matt what it's made out of right now, as Surfetched is going to be hitting the field for its fallen comrade, as the Dynamax turns now for both Pokemon here are going to end. We saw that Surfetched go for 2 Leaf Blades, get 2 crits, and I am not surprised that we might actually see that again. So again, like, Surfetched has access to a lot of moves that have high critical hit chances. If you pair something with Scope Lens and get a guaranteed critical hit every time, that's a rough thing to kind of come back from. That's a lot of damage that you're receiving for like absolutely no reason. You ignore all the defense boosts and drops and things like that. Gastrodon is like, you know what? Don't want to deal with that. I'm going to switch out. We're actually going to get that Corviknight back on the field. So going to be able to handle Leaf Blade a little bit better here, as Rotom actually goes for Electro Web. So at least able to catch both Pokemon here for Speed Drop. Does a lot of damage onto Corviknight here, but Mirror Armor is going to reflect that Speed Drop back to Rotom Wash instead. And Tyranitar will take the Speed Drop, but at least Rotom is also takes it. Surfetch goes for the close combat instead into the Tyranitar spot. Is going to pick up the knockout here. So Ashley switching out that boosted Gastrodon and taking a lot of damage onto her Corviknight for her troubles and losing her Tyranitar. So Pokemon count is about the same, but I think as of right now, Matt is in a little bit of a better place. That Surfetch came in at a great time. We won't be seeing a Rotom going for any sort of water type moves. It's actually going to be Rotom coming into place here for that Gastrodon instead. So Corviknight taking a lot of damage from earlier. And it was at least able to reflect back that Speed Drop. Surfetch is like, nope, don't want to deal with this, so I'm also going to dip out because it is a fighting type Pokemon and will take super effective damage from flying type moves from Corviknight. As Rotom goes for Thunderbolt, will be faster thanks to that reflected Electro Web. Is able to pick up that knockout now on Matthew's Rotom. And Corviknight goes for the Brave Bird, was expecting that, which would have been into that Surfetch from earlier before, but still gets considerable damage into that Goodra as a Sandstorm finally ends on this turn. So now we have Goodra and Surfetch as the last 2 Pokemon here for Matt, and Ashley still having that Gastrodon in the back. We'll have to be careful though, because if she doesn't get rid of that Surfetch, it'll just be able to go for the Leaf Blade because it is going to be a faster Pokemon than her Gastrodon, and we'll be able to knock out we'll be able to knock out that Gastrodon. So all of that switching will have been for naught in the end if she doesn't get rid of that Surfetch. It's taken very minimal damage right now and is still able to at least do some considerable damage into her own Rotom. And Corviknight is actually in a pretty precarious spot, not quite in the red yet, but one good hit or one critical hit will be able to knock it out. So Ashley's going to have to play this very carefully, as Corviknight is actually going to get switched out on this turn. Is going to be switched into the for that Gastrodon, and that Gastrodon, if it takes the Leaf Blade, it's kind of game over here, but Rotom goes for the Thunderbolt into that Surfetch and gets some good damage into it. But Goodra goes for its own Thunderbolt, does not get any sort of a damage into that Gastrodon, as Rotom on Ashley's side goes down on this turn thanks to that Leaf Blade. That is the 3rd Leaf Blade critical hit in a row from this Surfetch, from the only attacking move it's done so far. Gastrodon taking this turn to gain a little back of HP as it didn't take any damage. And now it's Corviknight and Gastrodon versus this Surfetch and this Goodra. So it's a game of like who's going to play Protect first, because if you can decide which Pokemon's going to protect and which one is it, you might have a chance at winning this if you're Ashley. And if you're Matt, you have to decide which. This is definitely one of those mind games where what are you going to protect and what are you going to attack with? And this is a rough call, because if Surfetch attacks and you don't protect, that thing is going to knock out the only Pokemon that needs to go. So we are going to see Gastrodon go for Protect. It is the only Pokemon here going for that Protector right now. And Goodra goes for the Thunderbolt into that Corviknight, is going to be able to pick up that knockout, which means this game is going to go to Matt, because that critical hit, which is not on the Corviknight actually, which is not from the Surfetch actually, that critical hit, very important here for Matt to get to be able to pick up that knockout. I actually don't know if it was that important, because that's Thunderbolt usually will do the job there. But Gastrodon, even with like that HP recovery from leftovers. We've seen it get absolutely knocked out from Leaf Blade. And I mean, there's a very, very high chance that this Leaf Blade is going to crit onto that Gastrodon as well. But Goodra goes for the Power Whip, will connect with it into this turn, and that is going to be game over for Ashley, who did a pretty good job. Like, those were a lot of good switches on this game. But Matt was able to win it out with that Goodra and that Surfetched, giving the round to him and keeping him at now 4-1, actually. So good job to him. And I'll see you guys for round 6 in just a little bit.